prevention of childhood disabilities and rehabilitation by strengthening municipal systems in collaboration with provincial and federal government of Nepal. The uniqueness of Corona is what we are doing is not a project, it's a program which is well embedded in the government system, making sure that it continues even after the exit of Corona. Furthermore, the model is dealing with all types of disabilities, leaving no one behind. I'm delighted to moderate this important discussion on realizing the rights and improving accessible and smart services for persons with disabilities in hard-to-reach areas. Realizing the rights and improving accessibility together with smart services is challenging, simply because society still is not open enough to deal with the issue. There are taboos, stigmas, and societal constructions. Identification, recognition, and acceptance are still challenges everywhere, whether it is global north or global south. The right holders themselves can't raise their voices as they are not identified, recognized, and accepted. That their physical or mental condition is one part, but not having enabling environment is more important part. Not having enabling environment is the tallest barrier we all need to deal with today and in the days to come. Today's discussion will focus on how we can create an enabling environment so that not only people with disabilities, but many others, for example, injured persons, senior citizens, and people with specific conditions can benefit. Accessibility and smart services not only benefits the persons with disabilities, or they are not only designed for them, but it's for everyone. One example is the elevator, which not one lifts people who can't walk, but everyone to the next level. Diversity and severity within disability constitute disability a real topic. It adds more the adversities when it comes to the areas which are hard to reach. The charts in Bangladesh and mountains in Nepal are an additional issues we have to take care. Technology is emerging as a blessing for all, and specifically for people with disabilities. Access to programs, information, and opportunities is of great importance to all, including the people with disabilities. And technology is helping immensely, not only to make access, but also to realize the rights and service providers and policymakers. Let's not forget that disability is the political agenda. The political and policy people must be involved and included while realizing the rights of persons with disabilities in an active manner. Also, we have to be aware that the family is key while dealing with disability, and there has to be a support mechanism to the families in a specific manner. The growing urge for disability by global communities is well expressed in the human rights commitments and international initiations, including sustainable development goals. The need of the time is we to unite with common voice to realize the rights and improve access and smart services for persons with disabilities. Welcome everybody in this very specific and important discussion program. With this, I would like to bring you to the speaker. And the first speaker is Ms. Betteke Gaay Fortman, the director of Friendship Netherlands. For more than 20 years, she has been involved in disability inclusive ventures, creating sustainable changes in the lives of persons with a disability and their families and communities in Bangladesh, Nepal, Democratic Republic of Congo, Ecuador, Nicaragua, Peru, and Bolivia. She also has written a book about those experiences, namely People Develop Themselves, Opportunities and Limitations of Aid Far Away. She plays a vital role in bringing philanthropists together to support long-term programs by strong local organizations like Friendship and Runa. She will make a keynote presentation. Betteke, please go ahead.
Thank you, Deepak. So good morning and good afternoon, good evening to all of you. And a special word of welcome to our honorary guest, Mr. Hossain Khan, Secretary of the Cabinet Division of the Government of Bangladesh. Mr. Anir Chowdhury, Policy Advisor of A2Y Program, and to Mr. Vashkar Bhattacharjee, the consultant of A2Y, and of course to my respected colleagues, Runa Khan, founder of Friendship, and Marc Elvinger, chair of Friendship International, and to Anne Gummels, with whom this journey in Friendship started, and Ayesha, who is leading the inclusive citizenship sector. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak during this special event on how we can make sure that all persons with a disability are part of our society. So here in the picture, we see Sumaya. She is a girl of 4 years old living in the Charkora Baidi in Gaay. And she was diagnosed through Friendship's program. She was diagnosed with autism. She couldn't walk and she also couldn't speak properly. And through the work of the physiotherapist and speech therapist, now she can speak and also walk. But most importantly, she is part of the community. She has friends. Disability is a very complex phenomenon because there are so many disabilities and all persons with a disability have a different need. But one thing is very clear. We all have a relative or a family member, or we have a disability ourselves. So it is not about them, it is about us. For example, my old father, he has always had such a sharp mind, but now he is starting to get dementia. That is part of life and it's natural. But in case of children like Sumaya, we can make a huge difference in their lives by giving the right support at the right time, making digital solutions also accessible to them, and providing them with the right education, with good quality education, health and income opportunities. And it is focused to key on it is very important to focus on the communities and inspire communities to take care of their children and include them in daily life and development. It also will make communities feel proud of themselves. As a society, we are as strong as our weakest link. And that is exactly why the partnership between A2Y and Friendship is so important and why today's webinar is relevant. Next slide, please. Next slide. So here are some figures about disability. I would like to highlight the relation between disability and poverty. 80% of all persons worldwide with a disability live in developing countries. So the poorer you are, the bigger the chance that you get to develop a kind of a disability. And also, if you are born with a disability, then the chance of being more poor is also higher. So we need to address the very remote and poor communities to make sure that we can reach out to the 4.6 million citizens in Bangladesh with a disability. Next slide, please. So luckily, it's good that there are universal conventions like the UNCRPD, the Convention of the Rights of Persons with a Disability. Also, WHO developed a community-based rehabilitation matrix and this is an instrument which makes it very important. It tells us that we have to address the issue of disability in different domains: health, education, livelihood, empowerment, and also social. And we need to address those domains in a holistic way. And this is exactly also Friendship's strength, to address all the interventions in a holistic way. And number 3, we have the Sustainable Development Goals. And the overarching goal of all the Sustainable Development Goals is to leave no one behind. And we can only reach that if we join hands and put all our efforts together. Next slide, please. So I would like to share some of my experiences in other countries with disability and inclusion. So Deepak, he is leading Karuna Foundation Nepal, which has developed an Inspire to Care, a model which is called Inspire to Care. And basically the most important components of this model is to embed the interventions in the communities and in the local, provincial and federal structures, and to be very cost effective so that the government can continue the services over the years. Secondly, it is very important also to prevent disability. Not all disabilities can be prevented, we know that, but there are disabilities which are preventable if all citizens have access to good quality healthcare. We say safe pregnancy, safe delivery, safe infancy. And thirdly, it's very important to sensitize people by showing that persons with a disability in many cases have equal talents. Not always, of course, but together we have to make sure that persons with a disability are given equal opportunities so that they can be an asset for society rather than a burden. Next slide, please. So in Europe, we know that there are more sources available for persons with a disability. Also, there is technology available, but sometimes isolation is strong. So people are institutionalized and feel isolated from their families and peers. And sometimes we see that in countries like Bangladesh, Nepal, Congo, the inclusion in community gives more a feeling of more participation and being part of the society. The Inspire to Care model developed by Karuna Foundation in Nepal is also now being implemented in Congo, in East Congo. And the same principles are there, but the context is different. So we need to find other strategies to achieve the ultimate goal. And the ultimate goal always is an inclusive society for all. There is a lot more to talk about Go, but time is short. But I just wanted to share that in other countries, similar interventions and collaborations between NGOs and government take place with very good results, and that mindset can change in a short period of time. Also, by developing a clear exit strategy with different roles and responsibilities between communities, NGOs, and governments, local authorities, this really helps to promote sustainable and self-reliant communities. And this is exactly also why we are so happy with the partnership with A2I. Next slide. So in Bangladesh, in Friendship, we started a pilot in 2020 in 15 chars of Kudigram and Gaibanda, where Friendship was already working. And the ambition of this pilot was to show an example of how to reach persons with a disability, how to make the services to education and health and income accessible for them. And of course, we are also focusing on empowering and sensitizing communities and make sure that all persons have equal access to opportunities. Next slide. So we are very happy that in January this year, January 2023, the partnership with A2Y started. And in March, the first event, jointly organized event, took place to raise awareness among journalists, to make them aware about the challenges of persons with a disability in hard to reach areas, and how to make digital solutions also available for persons with a disability. Next slide, please. We were very happy that some of the main newspapers in Bangladesh wrote about this event. This is very important to make this community and society more sensitive towards the issue of disability. Next slide. I'm very impressed, personally, I'm impressed by the smart vision, you could say, of the government of Bangladesh to have a smart citizens, smart government, smart economy, and smart society. Together we can and we should innovate and build the capacity of persons with a disability and their communities, and help them to overcome the challenges to a dignified income and quality healthcare, access to quality healthcare and education. Next slide. So before starting the partnership with A2Y, we already were working very closely together with local authorities, like the Center for Disability in Kurigram and Gaybanda, where persons with a disability are being referred to from the CHARS. Next slide. This is how, some points listed out where we think we together, A2Y, government representatives and Friendship can do more to reach out to all persons with a disability. So let's innovate together, let's make digital solutions accessible for everybody, and let's build the capacity of communities. And I would already like to thank A2Y and government representatives for listening, but also moreover for acting together to reach out to persons with a disability and their families and communities in Bangladesh. And the next slide, please. Yeah, so this is the cover of my book, People Develop Themselves, and just to share that experiences of Nepal and also Friendship Bangladesh and Congo are being covered by the book, and the English translation will be available at the end of the year. And the very last slide is to show Tovit, a boy with a disability born in one of the CHARS. Next slide, Rahman. So maybe the last slide is not available. Tovit is a source of inspiration and hope for all of us. So if change can happen in such a complex context, in the life of a boy like Tovit, this is really giving us hope and inspiration. Let's have a look at the video. Yeah, so when we reached out to this boy, he couldn't walk, he was bedridden, and now he can walk and he even goes to school. So thank you very much all for listening. And I would like to give the word back to Deepak.
Thank you, Betteke, for a very inspiring presentation and sharing the knowledge and information that you do have throughout your career. Now, I would like to call upon Mr. Rahman, Ahmed Rahman, who is the Deputy Director in the Inclusive Citizenship Program in Friendship Bangladesh. He will highlight the Friendship Disability Inclusion Project. Mr. Rahman is primarily responsible for leading the inclusive citizenship sector that underscores the governance issues in the most underprivileged and marginalized communities in Bangladesh. Throughout his professional and academic career, he earned numerous accolades and awards for many occasions. Mr. Toufiqur, please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Deepak. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and esteemed participants, in every corner of the world, including northern Bangladesh, there are individuals whose lives have been impacted by disability. However, for those residing in hard-to-reach areas, the challenges they face can even more daunting. Lack of accessibility, limited resources, and societal barriers have made it challenging for persons with disability because of limited access to healthcare, education, and livelihood options. Inclusive citizenship sector of Friendship is initiating a project started with a pilot phase titled Improving the Lives of Persons with Disability in the Northern Chors of Bangladesh from July 2020 in Gaibandha and Kurigram districts. And now it's running on its full phase. These projects aim to look at the disability history and health assessment for this, and also to find out the services, accessibility, level of cooperation they receive from their community. A group of trained specialists are providing door-to-door services to all the identified persons with disability in different hard-to-reach chores. Since July 2020, this project is serving community mobilizations, physiotherapy services, assistive device development, government advocacy meetings, and capacity building training, and also ensuring no one is left behind in achieving sustainable and equitable development through community-based rehabilitation, or CBR. In conclusion, our journey towards a truly inclusive, smart Bangladesh demands that we address the gap that prevent persons with disabilities from benefiting from technological advancement. By embracing digital solutions and fostering a culture of empathy and inclusion, we can empower persons with disabilities, enrich their lives, and build a brighter future for all. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to all the experts, scholars, NGOs, and government representatives who have come forward to share their insights and expertise with us today like before. Your presence reflects your dedication to this cause, and I have no doubt that your contribution will be invaluable in shaping our collective efforts. Thank you so much. Deepakda, you are on mute.
Sorry. Thank you, Toufiqur bhai, for your nice presentation. Now I would like to bring you to a video which tells what exactly is A2I. A2I is Aspire to Innovate, a special program of the government of Bangladesh that catalyzes citizen-friendly public service innovations, simplifying governance, bringing services closer to the people. Please, let's have a look at the video, and we'll have a very special guest who will talk more about technology and all the initiations in Bangladesh. Can you please run the video?
In a world where digital services are parts of our everyday lives, it is essential to ensure equal access for every individual. A2I is leading the way in breaking down barriers and making digital technologies and services accessible to everyone, including the 16 million people with disabilities. More than 350 e-services are available for all, including persons with disabilities who are living in the hard-to-reach areas through Union Digital Centre. We are at pace to achieve WCH 2.1 Level A compliance in all our digital services. The Bangladesh government prioritized digital inclusion and accessibility, starting with banking systems, National Portal, My Government, Muxopath, and Nice Portal. These brainchilds of the government have capitalized and saved the citizens valuable time, cost, and visit to receive government services. 2.9 million people with disability are receiving disability allowance from all corners of the country, including rural parts, through mobile financial service.
The Inclusive Smart Bangladesh Initiative Vision 2041 is a testament to our commitment to building a society where every individual, including those with disabilities, can practice actively in the digital revolution.
Groundbreaking tools like the multimedia talking book and an accessible dictionary, empowering students with disabilities, have been developed to access education on an equal footing. Today, around 300,000 students are using multimedia talking book and 6 million curious minds are using accessible dictionary.
Neurodevelopment disability is one of the most vulnerable community among the people with disabilities. To ensure their rights, Bangladesh has just adopted the Neurodevelopment Trust Act, and also many of the government policies, including education policies, ICT policies, Disaster Management Act, has a separate section on disability inclusion. So this is really remarkable commitment by the government.
committing to uplift inclusivity and equal access to digital technologies for everyone through disability and digital inclusion training. Efforts have been instrumental in making digital smart services accessible for all, including persons with disabilities, and have played a vital role in building a more inclusive society. We envision a smart nation, where people with disabilities will be perceived as the people with special abilities.
My dream is to make an inclusive society where there will be no discrimination. Everyone should be treated equally with dignity.
Let us make a prosperous, happy nation by 2041.
Yeah, it shows what exactly is happening in Bangladesh in terms of technology and reaching people in hard to reach areas. Now, I would like to call upon Mr. Anir Chowdhury, who graduated from Brown University, having postgraduate work at Harvard, Columbia, Boston, Bradford, and Oxford universities, to name few. At present, Mr. Chowdhury is the policy advisor of E2I program of the ICT division and cabinet division of the government of Bangladesh. He is a greatly known personality in the sector of technology innovation in Bangladesh and beyond. Welcome, Mr. Chowdhury.
Deepak, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you are audible here in.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate giving me the floor earlier than was originally scheduled because of my illness. I'm having all the symptoms of the dengue fever for the last day or so. Respected Secretary, Coordination and Reforms, Cabinet Division, the founder and executive director of Friendship, executive director of Runa Foundation, respected keynote speaker and other speakers, distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen. A warm welcome to all of you. I'm delighted today to address this international webinar on realizing the rights and improving accessible and smart services for persons with disabilities in the hard-to-reach areas. I'd like to express my heartfelt appreciation most in hard-to-reach areas. I firmly believe that this event marks the beginning of a fruitful and long-lasting collaboration as we embark on a journey of working together to create a more inclusive future. The video that you just saw talks about A2I, which is a special program of the government of Bangladesh. It ran from the Prime Minister's office for 11 years. Now it's part of the ICT division and cabinet division of Bangladesh, supported by UNDP and several other donors. As you know, it has played a pivotal role in advancing the government's digital Bangladesh agenda, and is also now playing a crucial role in shaping, conceptualizing, and also developing the execution plans for Smart Bangladesh 2041. A2I works very closely with the Department of Social Services, which you know, and together we have successfully registered over 3 million individuals with disabilities in the Disability Information System, and this number continues to grow steadily. 2.9 million persons with disabilities now receive social safety net allowances efficiently through mobile financial services and agent banking, leading to significant reduction in time, visit, and cost, especially for 80% residing in rural areas. Moreover, nearly 9,000 union digital centers facilitate access to close to 350 government services, benefiting individuals with disabilities in hard-to-reach locations. Additionally, the largest e-learning platform in Bangladesh, Muktopat, which is called Open Learning, was also created by A2I, has successfully enrolled over 5,000 young people with disabilities, making it an accessible platform for knowledge and skills acquisition, accessible to anyone from any location. To build awareness among different stakeholders, including government officials, A2I designed a training named Disability and Digital Inclusion Training. Already 1,000 plus government officials, UN staff members have undergone this training. To empower persons with disabilities with comprehensive digital literacy, A2I also designed a training named Digital Literacy Training for persons with disability. Already about 500 plus participants from different parts of Bangladesh received this training. You heard about the multimedia talking book. Nearly about 300,000 students with disability are using multimedia talking books in their regular curriculum in their schools. And it's specially designed for all persons, including persons with a visual and print disability and low literacy. We also heard about Accessible Dictionary, which is an innovation, which is the creation of an affordable online accessible dictionary complemented by an offline version. This groundbreaking tool has already attracted 6 million users in Bangladesh. In terms of banking accessibility, besides the web and digital service accessibility, EDUA has been working diligently to make financial services available to all, accessible to all. Initially, 5 banks took the steps to implement accessibility. One of the banks has already achieved WCAG 2.1 level A standard by addressing barriers and ensuring inclusive financial services, which strive to provide equal opportunities for financial participation to all citizens. In terms of the legal aspect, legal provision, in line with international conventions, such as the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, recently the government of Bangladesh has adopted Digital Services with Web Designing Guideline for Inclusive Accessibility 2022. After the implementation of this guideline, digital platforms encountered no legal barriers to ensuring accessibility for all. We have started working on this concept called equality, E-quality, which is a pun on the word equality. Globally, we have seen digital divide widening sometimes, and this divide is primarily characterized by insufficient network coverage and limited digital literacy. However, when considering digital accessibility for individuals with disabilities, a plethora of diverse dimensions come into play. These dimensions encompass not only the technical aspects, but also extend to encompass social dynamics and even the design of services. Our journey towards realization of equality, we are actually planning to launch an equality center. The vision began with the ambitious goal to achieve a zero digital divide to ensure the inclusion of marginalized populations. The Equality Center, dedicated to inclusive innovation, develops deeply into the complexities of the digital divide through data-driven research, culminating in the creation of an equality index. This index quantifies the divide's various facets. Additionally, we seek to unearth the human experiences tied to this divide using digital ethnography, collaborating with global experts to intimately understand the challenges faced by marginalized communities. Central to the center's mission is the strategic utilization of Bangladesh's successful digital transformation as a springboard for effecting change. By transferring proven solutions to underserved communities within the developing countries, we aim to foster progress and inclusivity on a broader scale. In pursuit of this objective, we also established International ICT Innovation Matching Fund Facility. This initiative would extend support to less developed countries and least developed countries in the exploration and implementation of tailored digital solutions. Now, let me talk a little bit about the Vision 2041. The keynote speaker, Ms. Fortman, already talked about the 4 pillars of Smart Bangladesh. The Inclusive Smart Bangladesh Initiative Vision 2041 is a testament to our commitment to building a society where every individual, including those with disabilities, can participate actively in the digital revolution. By targeting the development of accessible digital services and materials, such as e-learning content, we aim to ensure that no one is left behind in the digital realm. We had our first meeting of the Smart Bangladesh Task Force last week with the Honorable Prime Minister, and I'm happy to report that the disability issues took a center stage focus in the discussion, particularly the 2 pillars, the Smart Citizen and Smart Society, will actually encompass a lot of provisions to make sure that persons with disabilities are included in the zero digital divide ambition that we have for 2041. The zero digital divide for people with disabilities is not merely a development goal, it is a development necessity. To the Inclusive Smart Bangladesh Initiative, A2I Services for Inclusive Citizenship, and the establishment of the Equality Center, we are steadfast in our commitment to building an inclusive digital society. Let us continue our collective efforts to remove barriers, promote equal opportunities, and empower individuals with disabilities to fully participate and contribute to the digital world. My thanks again to Friendship and to the A2I Disability Innovation Lab for organizing this enlightening webinar and for your continuous efforts in championing digital inclusion for people with disabilities. Friendship's dedicated efforts to serve marginalized populations resonate deeply with the core focus of our equality initiative. Our shared commitment to inclusively create a powerful synergy, enabling us to join forces and make a more profound impact on the often overlooked and unheard communities within our country. Again, thanks to all of you, and let us strive for an inclusive future where no one is left behind. Thanks to all of you.
Thank you, Mr. Chowdhury, for your very warm and enlightening statement. It's amazingly great what you are doing in Bangladesh, and Nepal is willing to learn from the learning of your initiations there. Also, thank you for being here despite of your ill health today in this meeting. Now, I would like to move on, and I would like to present a video. And I believe pictures and visual effects are clearer than the talk that we made. Let us have a quick glance at a video of Friendship Foundation to understand what exactly is Friendship and how it is reaching to the people in the hard-to-reach areas. Please run the video. Thank you. Amazingly great, isn't it? I think it's so powerful how Runa and her team is making things different in such a hard to reach areas. Now, I think obviously it's time for Madam Runa Khan, the founder of Friendship, an international social purpose organization established in 2002. Friendship works for most vulnerable and remote communities in Bangladesh, as we all have seen in the videos. She has multiple global recognitions. To name few are the European Women's International Leadership and Ashoka Award. Runa Appa is also a member of many global fame organizations such as Club of Rome and trustee of Duke of Edinburgh Award Bangladesh, and I think many more. So it's I think let's hear her more and then enlighten ourselves to make things more effective. Please, Runa Appa. You are mute, Runa Appa.
Sorry. Sorry, and thank you very much, Deepak. And I'm so happy to be here with all of you. Honorable Secretary, Mahmudul Hossain Khan, Mr. Anir Chowdhury, thank you for coming. Professor Suzana Brown, distinguished guests, my speakers, my colleagues at Friendship, and everyone present today. Good evening, good afternoon, Assalamu alaikum. So I think you all see where I'm sitting today. I'm at actually in a very far away place. It's in Gaibanda, in one of our friendship centers, where over the last 13 years now, we've been using this center for training people, and people come and they feel at home. So as I am today here. So we are here today discussing one of the most pressing issues actually of our time. In this era of increasing inequality all over the globe, where disparity in countries cannot be seen as rich and poor. There are no rich and poor countries as such, but within each country, more so, we have grades of those who have and those who have not. And this is growing wider daily. Today, gathered together, we have a common commitment towards inclusivity. And for those needing this to ensure access, opportunity, dignity, and hope. Ensuring that every citizen, regardless of their geographical and economic, social, or political circumstances, regardless of wealth, age, gender, skin color, or ability, should have access, not only to their fundamental rights, but also all the services and infrastructure that can give them opportunity and empowerment to transform their lives and reach their full potential. Many of these services are available. We need to ensure access. And this has been Friendship's mission since day one, when I first visited the chores more than 2 decades ago. I really couldn't believe that people were living under, on this planet, in this kind of a circumstance, under these conditions, in the sandbar islands of the Brahmaputra and the Jamuna River. And along the shores of Bangladesh today, we see more than 6.5 million people. The very land they live on is impermanent, eroding, moving, rebuilding, taking away homes, livelihood, life, year after year. People living on the whim of the waters and climate. Nothing is permanent. Quicksand. And because of this comes unpredictability at every step of their life. Imagine trying to deliver vital services like healthcare, education, justice in such areas where everything is shifting. You cannot build anything on it dependably. And I found this totally inaccessible. And poverty mixed with hopelessness, people were still facing this with courage and resilience, just with a sad smile. I couldn't take it. I can't understand how anybody can take it. And the people were so poor that they could not even light a lamp, They had to think of the cost of that, one drop of oil. They were so removed from the realities of today that most of them did not even have access to a basic painkiller. Most people didn't even know how to make oral saline. There were entire islands, I found, where people could not even read and write. They had no idea of their rights and privileges as citizens. And I am talking about those people who were what we could consider people who are in society. And who knows what the persons with disability in this region was going through. From that condition 21 years ago today, the circumstances are drastically different. We have made changes thanks to the government of Bangladesh, who are our very strong and solid partners, with other organizations like the government of Luxembourg, LuxDev, the AFD, our development partners in Holland, in UK, so many foundations and donors who believed in our work. And we are able to today deliver healthcare services, vital services like education, legal aid, finance, and livelihood. Today, girls and boys from the Chors are attending the best education institutions in the country. They are representing their communities in the union parishods, in the EU Parliament, and even chosen as climate fighters. They are having confidence and thus security from natural disasters and finding pathways out of poverty. And today, our services involve unseen, unnoticed, and the most unaddressed section of these isolated climate impacted people. Those who were hidden for years, those with physical and mental disability, they need to be inclusive in these areas also. We have special services for them today, for their rehabilitation in their communities, and awareness campaigns to change public perceptions about disability and for them to be able to be included in their society, to be looked upon with love and respect once again amongst their families and friends. We have gone through 85 islands, found more than 750 people, who were hidden. And they were the hidden community in these inaccessible communities. We are today striving for their equity in society. Throughout the last year, since we discovered these hidden ones, I would say, we started to overcome extreme barriers, overcome extreme difficulties to reach them, bringing them under the coverage of essential services. There was no reason to bring them under coverage of essential services, their needed services, as we had done for the people of the Chors. We can scale and them under the umbrella of love and human dignity. We cannot do this alone. As Karuna in Nepal, Deepak has mentioned, is doing this along with the government because they are our strongest partners. They need to be our strongest partners. And we in friendship are also doing this more and more, partnering with them more and more. Our partnership with A2I is a natural progression, given our common goals in this respect. Since having officially partnered with them since January 23rd, 2023, we have celebrated the Global Accessibility Awareness Day together. We have organized disability inclusive training for journalists, as Betteke had mentioned. Digital access is so important. But we must remember that this is only a tool. Humanity and imbuing this humanity, imbuing love and acceptance for people around a person with disability and special needs are most important. We mustn't get only caught in tools. We must also be able to provide these services where they can be empowered to be able to access these digital tools. We mustn't forget love, which is so important. And these are all the work that we're doing. They're starting points. Today, we have in front of us opportunity to join forces to bring these services, not only to the Chors, not only to the able-bodied people, but also to everyone, be it in any kind of sensory, motor, or any other disability. The government of Bangladesh today, they have strong policies for inclusiveness and accessibility. And together we must work to reach and implement these in the hard-to-reach areas, conduct research, set up public-private partnership to maximize the access. In the era of digital Bangladesh and in our march towards smart Bangladesh, we are aiming for 100% of education, health, electrification, public services, paperless, cashless work, so that we can do this by 2041. How can we imagine doing this without including the climate migrants and the persons with disability? How can we even hope for equity if they are not part of this? And so we dream. We must work together to ensure that no child, no widow, no aged persons, no persons with any kind of anything which is stopping, which are putting them under the bracket of any form of disability is left behind. I look forward to the day our dreams of this can be fulfilled. Progress and inclusivity for everyone in this country. No one can do this alone. And because we can't do this alone, I ask for the support of all of you. We must work together. We shall build a smart Bangladesh where each individual, each family, in every and each village can live a life of opportunity, dignity, and hope. Leaving no one behind, we strive towards that. With you, along with us, along with all the people who are having the same hopes, same dreams. Thank you for your commitment.
Thank you, Runa, for such an inspiring, speech with emotion, but also with very much practical know-how on making things happen. You already have achieved a lot, and then having Mr. Secretary on board of the cabinet, and reaching so many people is already a great achievement. I would like to add one sentence here. While dealing with disability and people with marginalized population, you need to have sensitivity. While dealing with you need to have empathy, but you also need to have some sort of commitment and passion, and then you have to come over the emotion that you do have. Sometimes emotion does not help you to make very concrete and longer term decisions. So with this inspiring speech from Runa Khan, I would like to go to the next speaker, and she is Suzana Brown from University of New York. She is the associate professor there in the Department of Technology and Society, State University of New York. She is an interdisciplinary researcher who explores how modern information and communication technologies influence business models and contribute to sustainable development. The impact of technological applications in health and education, humanitarian use of technology for the vulnerable populations. She has done her PhD in interdisciplinary telecommunication at the College of Engineering and Applied Science, University of Colorado. Welcome, Ms. Suzana Brown, for your inspiring knowledge to all of us.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So I guess I'm gonna skip my first slide because you already introduced me. So I'm Suzana Brown. I'm associate professor at SUNY Korea. This is our international campus for State University of New York. And I'm mostly working these days on humanitarian and assistive technology. So my talk is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to talk about physical disabilities. We had a 2.5-year project. My co-PI and colleague on this project is also Bangladeshi, but he's located in the US. So we ran this project in second half of 2020, 21, and 22, and we monitored disability in the Rohingya refugee camps. So you all know where the Cox's Bazar is, and at this point, there is about 1.3 million refugees there. And by the estimate of our partner, there's approximately 10,000 people who has problems walking. So moving, that kind of mobility, and they have to use assistive devices. So the assistive devices we were looking at were crutches and canes. So what we were concerned is how they can actually move in this kind of terrain using crutches and canes, because they're designed for people who walk on a flat, even terrain. So we wanted to address the challenges of uneven terrain. And in addition, what they have troubles with is during the rainy season, the terrain gets muddy. So our solution was to make a different shoe attachment, the rubbery part that comes on the bottom of the crutches, so they can actually easier move during the rainy season and they can walk through uneven terrain. But what we added to, so for that, for a prototype, we used 3D printer, and we built 2 prototypes. We tested them there, and we picked one design. I'll show you pictures later. But we also introduced evaluation. Since this was done during COVID time, we couldn't really physically go there. So we used video analysis to evaluate stability. Are we improving stability in the gait in their walk? So one of the part of the project was to monitor them remotely. So we had to use some tools. So we found an open source software called OpenPose. And typically, when you want to monitor how people walk and if they're stable in their walking gait, you use very expensive setup with motion capture, cameras, and special rooms. And it's very expensive, and it's hard to establish in some remote and hard to reach locations. So we actually came up with alternative. And let me show you the setup. So we got 2 very simple phone cameras. We positioned them so the gait was, they were filmed forward and they were filmed from sideways. And then the software made stethoscopic view, and it was able to do a 3D rendition of the people that walk. So you just have 2 cameras, you combine the input and you make, and then you estimate. The estimate we were doing is we're using signal to noise ratio. I know this is a little too technical, but we followed the ankle. We think about it, how smooth the ankle is moving, is it jerking or not? So the smooth movement is better, okay? So let me show you the picture. This is the front view, and this is the side view, and these 2 views were combined. It was all in the video. And then this checkerboard here is for synchronization. The front camera and the side camera had to be synchronized. So when we did that, we were able to basically evaluate our progress. On top of that, we built 2 prototypes and we compared them, and we did field testing so initially we did a baseline study with about 100 people in the camp, 100 people who had problems with physical disability, they couldn't move. I'll show you later where the disabilities come from. We actually have lots of data from them. But for out of these 100 people, we picked 50 participants, and between November 21 and March 22, they actually tested 2 designs. So this was user testing, and they chose one of these designs. We chose it, and then we produced actually 400 sets. That's 800 crutch shoes. But this is how they look. They look like your snow tires, so they're easy to move. Oh, I guess there is no snow. Bangladesh, sorry, I compared to snow tires from Colorado. They are easier to use. We tested them in the lab, actually. We tested them in my lab here in Korea, and we used some people who walk with crutches. We had 4 users here who tested them before we actually deploy them in the field. Yeah. So when we finally produced this 400 sets, 300 of them went to refugees and 100 to the host community in Cox's Bazar. We had a local partner, which was a local NGO, IPSA, Young Power Social Action, I think their full name. So it's a local Bangladeshi NGO. And finally, at the end, I want to share with you some results that I found interesting from the baseline data. So in our surveyed 100 people, so prior to our field testing. And unfortunately, most of them were male. It was really, really hard to get male participants. They were reluctant to be filmed. They were reluctant to participate. So we had underrepresented. So in our second round, we actually tried to include a lot more women, and we had a special workshop for women. 77% of them have been using crutches for more than a year. So you can see some pictures of the people that we were dealing with here. And so we asked them, why do you use crutches? And most of them use them because of accidents. So these are Rohingya refugees, but actually the war-related injury is only 30%. If you add the general accidents, the road accidents, it comes to about 44%. So close to a half comes from accidents. And actually, that's true. I also did some study in Malawi, and when we looked how people get injured to not be able to walk and have to use some kind of assistive device, it's mostly an accident, road accident. And then, of course, there's diseases. They make them hard for them to walk. And then at the end, we ask them, what are the biggest problem? The biggest problem is that they fall down. They're unstable. So they're disabled. It's hard for them to walk, and then they trip and fall, because moving with these crutches is hard, and it's hard even for people who walked on the paved terrain. Imagine how hard that is for people who walked on unpaved or muddy. So the biggest problem with them were hills and mud. We couldn't do much about hills, we couldn't make, but we did actually try to work around the mud problem. And one other thing that we thought might be the next step in the project is they are complaining that there is no repair shops. So if they have a small problem or something needs to be fixed, they don't have anybody to go to, right? So so we gave all 100 participants new set of crutches. We produced these new shoes, but any small repairs, they didn't actually have a repair shop. Now our designs are with the local, they were all produced in Cox's Bazar. They are with the local manufacturer, and the designs stayed there. We did project, actually, the project is being funded by the Grand Challenges Canada. It's another NGO, and their call is called Creating Hope in Conflict. So they fund projects that try to help population that's actually in a conflict situation, or a very, very, not only hard to reach, but in a very kind of a dire situation. I don't know what all qualifies for that. Anyway, that's it. Thank you so much. This is my contact information if you want to ask me anything, and I shared my slides. I shared my slides with the organizer. So this is a little bit different, more about physical disability. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Suzana, for your information. It's great, how you have been innovating local solutions to reach more people. As we are running out of time a bit, I would like to request all the remaining speakers to be particular on time. The next speaker is from the Netherlands, and she is lovely Anne Gummels, an MBA who entered the world of philanthropy after career in marketing, market research, and strategy consulting. She has been leading both funding and fundraising organization and supports philanthropic organization in advisory roles, mainly focusing on grant-making policy and theory of changes. As a program manager for the Unicef's Foundation, she focuses on projects supporting children with disabilities, mainly in Bangladesh and Nepal. Welcome, Anne.
Thank you, Deepak, and welcome to all. Thank you all for listening and giving me the opportunity to share my experience in Bangladesh with the Friendship Pilot. Today, I am speaking to you as the program manager for the Unicef Foundation, and the foundation has been supporting projects, initiatives, organizations supporting children with disabilities. And our current focus is on Bangladesh and Nepal, with also some projects that we support in Africa. As a foundation, we have a preference for community-based and comprehensive programs to have to support those and help them grow and develop. What I wanted to share with you is really my personal story about the start of the pilot and how we got there and what we see now. I came in touch with Friendship actually through Betteke, who spoke first, and we knew each other through the network, industry events, those kind of things. And our mutual interest in children with disability actually led to a discussion with the team in Bangladesh that Betteke started and that we then followed up, and that eventually led to the pilot of the program. In early 2020, right before the whole world shut down for COVID, I visited the CHARS, and I have to say it's one of the most impressive locations I've ever been to. It's really wonderful. And what I saw on a more professional level was a very complete infrastructure that Friendship had put in place there, which seemed to offer the possibility to include children and people with a disability as a specific target group, a specific focus in between brackets, a fairly easy way. I mean, there are no easy things, but with the complete infrastructure around healthcare, around education, around community building, around climate resilience, there was a lot that could be developed. And maybe the most telling example, or the simplest one, is the Char Theater that you saw in the video. The Char Theater was already used to make taboo types subjects more discussable in the communities. And it was fairly simple, actually, to add disability as a topic. So there would be a few more, one or two more shows made around this. And so it could be included in all the standing operations, really. Something else that to me stood out was the highly motivated staff that I traveled around with, who were actually quite shocked to realize that there were children with disability that they had not previously been aware of, even though they had been present in the CHARS for 20 or so years, indicated to them that it really was, I mean, they were really pushed away. And I was really, really pleased and impressed, actually, by the eagerness of the team to accept the challenge and to move on to put together a very comprehensive program to pilot. And the Universiteits Foundation, which is a mid-sized foundation, was capable of financing that. And I think that looking at it from a donor standpoint, it is a program that we are very proud of, and that is one of the ways that we can really make an impact as a mid-sized foundation, to allow an organization to do a pilot and then find other financing from larger foundations to the scaling, ultimately, hopefully, collaborating with government to do the full scaling. Because be it in our experience also in other countries and even in the Netherlands, for any intervention, be it healthcare, be it education, for it to really scale, an NGO cannot do that on their own. It needs to be government to actually do that. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to visit the CHARS since 2019, so I haven't seen with my own eyes the results. But from the reporting, which Friendship is putting together very diligently and very clearly, the results show. But actually, maybe for me personally, the more telling piece of proof, if you will, was a piece of anecdotal evidence. And it was actually about the boy that Betteke showed, Toufiqur. He was portrayed by James Eardy, a British artist who went to the CHARS to paint the people. And as I was visiting his exhibition in Amsterdam, he knew that I had some involvement with Friendship, but he didn't know what. And he was talking about each of the 12 paintings that was there. And he made of Toufiqur. He was telling me that that was the story that had made most impact on him, saying how Toufiqur was basically in the stables with the cows until a year and a half ago, until Friendship came around and made sure that he was doing better, had his physical therapy, and that he's now not only in school, but also in the house and being a very happy boy. So the fact that somebody who didn't know that I was involved with the project chose to tell me that as the most impressive experience, to me was really like, well, it's really working. And you see here to my back, it's one of the paintings that James made for me of another little girl with a char. All his works were sold out already, so he was kind enough to make a new one for me. Just to finish and to not make Deepak unhappy about overrunning time. Something else that we really value in the way Friendship approaches this is their collaboration with other organizations. To name a few examples, they're using the materials that are made by the boys with a handicap at Nikatan. They use the videos that are produced there. And they're also taking inspiration from Runa, from Deepak's organization, and especially there in the field of how to collaborate with government. And as I said earlier, I think that in order to really scale a successful intervention, really scale it throughout the country, it needs to be government who is involved. Even though the situations on the charts obviously is different from a mainland situation, as is the case in Nepal and is the case in other things in Bangladesh. We're very pleased to see the intensifying collaboration with government, and we sincerely hope that the entire program, or at least parts of it, will eventually be integrated into the general government systems. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anne, very much for your inspiring, personal journey to, the progress that we are making. Organizations like yours can really help, who help to make a pilot to scale. And I think as we do have Honorable Secretary here, who is very committed to bring it to the next level. Any NGOs can pilot, can create a model, but they cannot replace government, and they should not replace government. So in this case, I think we can learn a lot from each other. I'm getting constant knock from audiences that we are running out of time, taking more time. So not making it long, I would like to request Mr. Marc Elvinger, one of the key person in the whole process of Friendship Bangladesh, to share his knowledge and ideas to all of us. By profession, he is a lawyer, a member of the Luxembourg Bar since 1985, and a partner at Elvinger Hossain since 2000. He has been active as a volunteer in the field of development in various NGOs and foundations since the early 1980s. In his capacity, he was also a member of the board of the platform of the development NGOs in Luxembourg, as well as the representative of Luxembourg NGOs in the liaison committee of NGOs to the European Commission. Welcome, Mr. Marc. Welcome. I'm really eager to hear you, as I had an opportunity to meet you briefly in Bangladesh long time back in 2016, I guess. Welcome.
Thank you very much, and for your kind words. I think I will be quite short. I think as was apparent from the presentations given by both Betteke and also Toufiqur, and also what Anne said just now, it's actually quite recently that Friendship started working in its traditional working areas in Gaibanda and Kurigram with and for people with disabilities, though having been present there for about 20 years. And as Anne said, it was even for the Friendship staff, even though they have been there for so long, they have somehow discovered people with disabilities quite recently, for mostly probably social reasons, making that people are in a way often hidden away. So, and against that background, it may maybe sound a bit strange that we would right now speak about digital inclusion of people with disabilities, while we have only started to at all think about better inclusion and also, of course, primarily social inclusion of people with disabilities. But I think it's that we need to be aware that digitalization, as much as it is a potential factor of inclusion, may just as much be a factor of further exclusion. So because either the digital divide increases to the detriment of those who are already more at the margin of society, and then it is really not only not helpful, but it is actually harming to that segment of the population, or it is really put for use for a better inclusion from the very start of those segments of the population. So therefore, I think that the subject of today's seminar is indeed extremely relevant, and we see it in more and more now. There are hardly any programs of friendship nowadays where digitalization does not play an important role. We have our mHealth, so remote health tool. We have our Connected Schools program where digitalization is crucial. We have our HDM, so Health Data Management project, where again digitalization is at the core, and I could continue the list. So actually, in all digitalization is present, and therefore I think it's also important that we think about how we can promote inclusion of people with disabilities with digital tools. As was said by Deepak, I'm actually partly in charge of the Friendship International network, which is there to provide, of course, financial support to the operations of Friendship of Bangladesh, but beyond that also non-financial support. And also, as Bangladesh will be moving towards becoming a middle income countries, we need to become, I think, more and more creative in the types of tools of support which we can put in place, or the corporations which we can create, when possibly the traditional development aid may be more difficult to reach out for Bangladesh as the middle income countries. And I think there's good potential there. Speaking but just as an example of Luxembourg, a very small country where also digitalization plays a very important role, where we try to be an important player in fintech, so financial technologies and others. I think there are opportunities for cooperation which we can develop. Just very recently, 3 of our colleagues from Bangladesh were in Luxembourg to attend the humanitarian innovation accelerator, which was full of digital, really, and showing enormous potential for improving the humanitarian aid sector with digital tools. We have a business, a joint venture promotion facility in place on the side of the Luxembourg government, which is aimed at providing support to this kind of innovative tools. There's not only Luxembourg, of course. In Holland, for example, now I understand that we are working on a project of reversing the flow, where the Dutch government is interested in innovating in the humanitarian sector as well, and where direct support through financial inclusion to the people really on the ground is at the core of the program. So I think there is good potential there, and we need to explore all the possibilities which we have in order to strengthen our cooperation beyond what is still very important, but which is the more traditional development aid. And I think in that context, of course, the cooperation with the digital agency of the government of Bangladesh is critical and I think also very encouraging for us, and therefore I look very much forward to the development of all those opportunities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marc, for your statement. We have now a couple of more speakers, most important speakers, who can really, highlight how things will take shape in the days to come. Now, I would like to invite a person who is the one who knows what disability is and how he has come up to this point despite of all the odds. Featured in Life and Livelihood of Grade 6 textbooks of Bangladesh, Bhattacharjee, a person with visual disability, served as the National Accessibility Consultant for A2I program of the government of Bangladesh, and serves as the country representative of G3 ICT. He has been working for the advancement of inclusive development and humanitarian action for over 18 years. He has advocated for digital accessibility in the public, private, and NGO sector in Bangladesh and beyond. He has a lot of recognitions and honors. There are too much numbers, so I do not like to mention all them over here. May I request Mr. Bhattacharjee to enrich us with his knowledge, experiences, and work.
Thank you very much. Am I audible? Hopefully.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Please.
Thank you very much. Firstly, I would like to show my respect to Honorable Secretary Sir, Cabinet Division Reform, because he's given time, and it really shows the commitment of our government, and also the keynote speaker, all the panelists, including Anir, Runa, and I apology that I couldn't recall all of your names, and especially the moderator. Thank you very much for your kind moderation. Ladies and gentlemen, I was one who have born in a rural village, I think more than 44 decades ago. Don't try to count my age. There was no doctor and hospital in that time, and I became blind. Since then, since my childhood, there was a huge struggle, because in that time there was no model for the persons with disabilities, especially persons with visual disabilities, how we could get education or employment, etc. However, today I am just in a position where I'm building a society community with collaboration of Bangladesh government and inclusive, barrier-free for all. Currently, I am leading the Disability Innovation Lab that is now focus on to fulfill the three of the commitment of the Bangladesh government. One is a political commitment to ensure people with disabilities. Current government has a political manifesto, and disability inclusions and accessibility is one of the core of that political manifesto. Secondly, Bangladesh government has committed, that is a legal commitment. The legal commitment, and through this commitment, Bangladesh government already adopted a number of laws and policies for ensure the rights of persons with disabilities in Bangladesh. One of the most significant law is Persons with Disability Rights and Protection Act 2013. They have the separate section for accessibility, especially digital accessibility. And also there is a most vulnerable group, or the neurodevelopment disability, autism, etc. To protect them, there is another law has enacted, that is Neurodevelopment Trust Act 2013. And also Bangladesh recently has adopted National Web and Digital Accessibility Guideline, which is adopted by the ICT division and circulated by the cabinet divisions. That is also help us to ensure all of our digital service will become accessible and inclusive for all. The number 3 commitment is a global commitment. Bangladesh is the first 20 country who have ratified the UN Convention of Rights of Persons with Disabilities. Bangladesh recently ratified the Marrakesh VIP Treaty to ensure accessible reading materials for people with vision and brain disabilities. Also, Bangladesh would like to achieve SDG by 2030. All the international conventions, policies, laws has the commitments to ensure equal rights for all, including people with disabilities. A2I Disability Innovation Lab already built a expert panel we call accessibility auditors. These panels are working with us to make all the digital service, including web and apps, accessible for all citizens. Recently, A2I Disability Innovation Lab are working with the Bangladesh Bank to make all the banking service, digital banking service, accessible for all citizens with disabilities. As a first few banks, we have targeted 5 banks to make it accessible. That means any persons with disabilities from anywhere can access the banking service without any barrier. We are very pleased to work with the Friendship, whose target population is very rural communities such as Chor and Islands. And we have started collaborating with them, I think 6 months ago. Currently, we are planning to bring our services in that rural community through Friendship. We are partnering almost 200 plus organizations of persons with disabilities, organizations working for the persons with disabilities, and organizations, international organizations who are committed to the persons with disabilities. Through their support, we are engaging people with disabilities and bringing their voice in the policy making to decision making process. I would like to recall a few of our groundbreaking innovation, such as multimedia talking book. That is full text, full audio multimedia talking book. Anyone can use it. People with vision disability can listen. People with speech and hearing disability can read by seeing. People with other disability can read or listen. And people with low literacy who can use this book by using $2-3 MP3 player. So this is very, very innovative. And Bangladesh government has ensured accessible books for grade 1 to grade 10 students, all types of students with disabilities. In the beginning of the educational year, governments are freely distributing books for all the sorts of persons with disabilities in Bangladesh, including visual and print disability. Another innovations Mr. Anir Chowdhury have talked, that is the accessible dictionary. That dictionary is built with 4 dictionary, and anyone can use it from anywhere in the country. We already mentioned people with disabilities can easily go to the Union Digital Center and they can receive 350 first services. So we are very much eager to collaborate with any organizations, national and international organizations, to bring new innovations and remove barriers for people with disabilities. We are committed, and I believe this collaboration will continue, and we can do more work together, and we can remove all the barriers which people with disabilities are facing for employment, educations, health, etc. Digital Bangladesh, in the beginning of the Digital Bangladesh, maybe people with disabilities are not that much considered, but during the planning of the Smart Bangladesh, people with disabilities are heavily engaged, and we are counting their voice. We believe through all of our efforts, 2041 would be a very inclusive Smart Bangladesh, and we'll able to work together to materialize that dream. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Bhaskar, for your experience as well as promising, futuristic scope that you shared with us. Now we do have the most important guest that is going to tell us how government of Bangladesh is going to lead the issue towards to the next step. The guest of honor is Mr. Sir Mahmudul Hossain Khan, who is the Secretary of the Cabinet Division Coordination and Reform Wing. Mr. Khan served as the Director General of the Money Laundering Department of Anti-Corruption Commission. He was promoted to Additional Secretary in September 2020. Earlier on, he was a member of the Bangladesh Export Processing Zones Authority. Mr. Khan also held different important posts in the Energy and Mineral Resources Division, the Religious Affairs Ministry, Rural Development and Cooperative Divisions, Ministry of Environment and Forestry, etc. Mr. Khan will tell us how government of Bangladesh is prepared to deal with all the issues of marginalized population, especially people with disabilities, not only living in urban settings, but in hard to reach areas. Welcome, Mr. Secretary. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Deepak, moderator, respected keynote speaker, esteemed panelist, and Mr. Anir Chowdhury, the policy advisor of A2I program, Government of Bangladesh. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to say something. It's really an honor, pride, and privilege to be a part of this very remarkable international dialogue on realizing rights and improving accessible and smart services for persons with disabilities in hard-to-reach areas. I extend my heartfelt thanks to Friendship and Aspire to Innovate for organizing this wonderful event. I am hearing from Runa Khan, the founder of Friendship, what was Bangladesh and now what is Bangladesh. This is really the achievement, how tremendously the achievement is going on in Bangladesh. I'd like to mention that the government of Bangladesh is committed to protect the interest and improvement of quality of life of all kinds of persons with disabilities. As you have heard from the Vashkar Bhattacharjees, many more examples that government has taken initiatives. I'd like to mention some more initiatives that was taken by the government, and that for the development of disabled persons, the National Foundation for Development of the Disabled Persons was formed in the year 1999 with the kind direction of our Prime Minister. And you know that for the sake of the disabled persons, a total 103 disability service and aid centers, 103 disability services and aid centers have been established in 64 districts and 39 upazilas in the country. To establish the rights of persons with disabilities, you have heard that the government enacted the Rights and Protection of Persons with Disabilities Act 2013 and also NDD Protection Trust Act 2013. 45 mobile one-stop rehabilitation van services are now operating throughout the country. As of June 2023, the number of free registered therapeutic services recipients were 4,80,702, and the number of services provided is 11,20,000. You know that 12 special schools for children with autism are now operating in different parts of the country. About 98 lakhs taka was disbursed under the personal financial grants programs, and about 16 crore taka was granted in favor of the concerned private organizations for disability-related activities from the National Foundation for Development of the Disabled Persons. Also, pre-primary education support and therapy services have been provided to 140 children with autism through 11 special schools. 32 mobile vans equipped with all kinds of therapy instruments and facilities have been purchased. And a 15-story multiple national handicapped complex building has been constructed to ensure empowerment and rehabilitation of the disabled persons. The government also declared quota for persons with disabilities along with the orphans in selected grades of the government jobs. This is really praiseworthy that government has taken so many steps and the government is concerned enough to make a inclusive society by 2041. We have some challenges that people with disabilities are particularly vulnerable to employment and poverty. And people with disabilities who are in work have dissatisfaction as they are often poorly paid. These are the challenges. But I do believe that persons with disabilities can have positive contribution to the national economy if they are well nurtured and given adequate opportunities. I'd like to say that along with the government, other organizations like corporate entities, NGOs, ready-made garments and manufacturing sectors and other related employers need to come forward to create employment opportunities for persons with disabilities, because the goal 13 of the goal 17 SDGs are closely related with disability issues. Therefore, we have to bring them in the mainstream and facilitate their access to education, access to healthcare, access to livelihood to achieve the SDG targets. Now Bangladesh is moving forward towards becoming a smart nation, and inclusivity is a key part of its Smart Bangladesh Master Plan. This plan is a thoughtful approach of transforming the country into a digitally advanced society that focuses on the needs of citizens with disabilities in every corner of the country. As Bangladesh progresses towards becoming an inclusive smart nation, it is crucial to continue investing in accessible technology, promoting awareness, and fostering collaboration that will bring about a truly inclusive digital Bangladesh. Together, we can build a future where technology breaks down barriers and empowers every individual to thrive in the digital age. I think that we all are here to strengthen our, to build a collateral or bilateral collaboration between the government and NGOs and other partners to come forward to build a smart Bangladesh where the society will be inclusive society and the disabled person can live their lives smoothly without any hesitation, with pride and honor and dignity. So thank you very much. Thank you all for giving me the floor.
Thank you, Honorable Secretary, for your kind remarks and your commitment and your information how government of Bangladesh is considering these issues to bring to the next level. I think we are lucky enough to get your insight. Nepal would like to invite you one day to get knowledge from you, as well as to show what has been done here in Nepal. Before joining this meeting, I consulted Ministry of Women, Children and Senior Citizens of Nepal to share, how Nepal and Bangladesh can work together, and they are very happy to collaborate with your government to share the knowledge from each other. With this word, we are almost in the verge of completion of the program. There are a couple of questions from the audience. Lucky enough to have more than 200 audiences throughout the discussion, and many concerns are dealt by our team. I would like to take one question as we are getting late. And that question is related to Betteke. In Betteke, the question is, in your global experience, how you observe any digital services in developed countries for the persons with disabilities? Are these services accessible and benefiting people? Can you please address these issues, Betteke, and then we'll move forward. We will come back with the people who are putting concerns in the chat and question and answer sessions with responses sometime soon in near future. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the question. In my experience, I have not seen accessible digital services. I think that has exactly to do what Marc said, that, well, we are talking about really hard to reach areas, and we are talking about persons with a disability who are, by definition, in many cases, the poorest of the poor. However, if we do not make digital services accessible for them, then the gap will be bigger and the inequality will be bigger. So I think Bangladesh can be a front runner and show other countries, less developed and middle income countries, how that can be done. So I really believe it can be done, and all together with all of us who are joining today and many more actors, we can make it happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Betteke. Thank you, everybody. Now we are almost done. The vote of thanks has to be shared in closing remarks. This is also my first time to moderate such a big event, so I'm a little bit, not feeling that comfortable. But thank you for tolerating me. Sorry for not being able to keep time as I'm supposed to maintain. Thank you, all the listeners, speakers, and everyone. Now we do have Ayesha Appa, Madam Ayesha Taasin Khan, and she is a human rights and climate justice advocate who has dedicated her career to ensuring access to justice for all. She is LLM from the University of London, is the Senior Director of Inclusive Citizenship in Friendship. She leads her team in delivering access to justice in the remote parts of Bangladesh. Access not only in terms of infrastructures, but also legal and civil rights are her core areas of expertise. I would like to take leave now by handing over the forum to Ayesha Appa. Vote of thanks and concluding remarks.
Okay, Deepak, you were very, very good, so there's no need to feel awkward at all. Esteemed Honorable Secretary of the Cabinet Division, Mahmudul Hossain Khan, sir, Mr. Anir Chowdhury, Policy Advisor of A2I Program, and distinguished guests, I thank you all for being here with us. As we come to the conclusion of this crucial international dialogue, it is both an honor and a responsibility to reflect on the challenges, the progress made, and the path forward. Our discussions have shed light on the formidable obstacles faced by individuals with disabilities in the remote corners of Bangladesh and underscored the urgency of implementing inclusive services. The very nature of these regions presents us with geographical, infrastructural, and socioeconomic barriers that hinder the accessibility of essential services. Persons with disabilities often find themselves marginalized due to inadequate infrastructure, the digital divide, and a lack of awareness, often about their rights and needs. Bangladesh, like many countries, has made significant strides in recognizing and promoting the rights of persons with disabilities. As Mr. Anir Chowdhury has so aptly pointed out, with our eyes on equality, we are on the forefront of measurable indexes that will hold us liable to the progression against the digital divide. Initiatives such as Muktopat, the multimedia talking book, and the steps being taken by non-government entities and the laws implemented by the government, as Mr. Vashkar Bhattacharjee had pointed out, and a testament to our commitment in leaving no one behind. Further, as the Honorable Secretary Mahmudul Hossain stated, the government has been providing subsidies, quotas at multiple tiers to ensure that persons with disability have the support that they may need in order to move forward towards the vision of a smart Bangladesh 2041 with pride, honor, and dignity. As Runa Appa so rightly pointed out, the communities on the shores of northern Bangladesh are on a different battle of their own. And it is even disheartening for all individuals with disabilities in those areas. Friendship has been in the trenches, but we cannot do it alone. We need policy implementation in hard-to-reach areas. We need our friends and allies to extend their hands, and we need our humanities to guide our conscience in the path of a more inclusive world. Yet amidst these challenges, we have witnessed remarkable efforts and initiatives that inspire us to forge ahead with determination. By fostering partnership, embracing technology, and championing the cause of inclusivity, we have the opportunity to bring about transformative change. As we embark on this journey together, let us bear in mind the words of Helen Keller. Alone, we can do so little. Together, we can do so much. Our shared commitment to this cause unites us, regardless of borders or affiliations. Looking ahead, I'm heartened by the potential for collaboration between organizations like Friendship and A2I. Our collective expertise, dedication, and on-ground presence hold the promise of bridging the gap and overcoming the obstacles that stand in the way of accessible and smart services for persons with disability. Through strategic alliances and concerted efforts, we can leverage technology to develop tailor-made solutions that empower individuals with disabilities to lead independent, fulfilling lives. In doing so, we can envision a future where every person, regardless of their abilities or location, has equal access to education, healthcare, employment, justice, and social opportunities. Let us commit ourselves to dismantling the whole divide and gap. So I thank you all very, very much for being with us and participating in this beautiful evening together. We also would like to, I would just like to bring into your attention, in doing so, as we said, we can envision a future where every person, regardless of their abilities or locations, has equal access in education, healthcare, employment, justice, and opportunities, as I just mentioned. Let us commit ourselves to dismantling the barriers that have long hindered progress and to fostering a society that values and respects the rights of all its members. I'm confident that with the active engagements of organizations like Friendship and A2I, we will make significant strides towards a more inclusive and equitable future. Together, let us embark on this journey with hope, resolve, and the firm belief that our efforts today will shape a brighter tomorrow for all. Thank you all, and a big thanks to Deepak Sapkota for having moderated the evening today. Thank you very much, Deepak, and thank you all participants. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary, for being with us. Thank you.